Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Podcast Action Committee, episode 145. Andrew Eisen here, along with Zachary Knight. Hello, Zachary.
Hello, everybody.
A girl just emailed me pictures. Excuse me while I look at them. That's amazing. Lady friend of mine just bought a kitten, and it's adorable. It's so cute. So,
Nice.
Yep. Let's see. Mark Loud over on YouTube is refusing to accept that 30 Days of It Netflix has come to its conclusion. For those of you who don't know, for the last month I did a series on YouTube called 30 Days of Netflix, where I used my free trial to watch something new every day and then make a video about it. And I started on the 1st, today's the 30th of May, so today is the final episode of 30 Days of Netflix. And
you put all of your stuffed animals on the table.
I put all the rest of my stuffed animals on the table. Although the the Freddy Krueger doll that you see in that video, I actually have two different Freddy Krueger dolls. One is a stuffed and has a pull string on the back, and you pull the string, it goes, "You are all my children now." So what you have to do is you have to pull the string and then gently glide it back in. So there's this, "You are all my children now." Yeah, so he sounds more menacing, because otherwise it's real high pitched and squeaky. So
that's hilarious.
Dr. Mecha asks what breed. The kitten that Christian got, it's orange. the orange
evil. No. All cats are evil. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's about it. She actually hasn't taken it. She can't take it home for another 2 weeks. It's too young yet, so it's like that big, and it's amazingly adorable. So it's a very light orange color, almost a blonde. So anyway, 30 Days of Netflix finished. It was a lot of fun. I'm kind of impressed with myself for actually making new content every single day. That was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And the final video, I was saying I have two Krueger dolls. One is a stuffed toy, the pull string. The other one you saw in the latest video, it's not stuffed. It's actually mostly plastic, and it also has a motion sensor on it. So if you click a button and you trip the motion sensor, it makes spooky sounds. And does it dun 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 dun, the nightmare theme. Yeah. It's really cool. Not stuffed, but I wanted to put it out there anyway. So yeah, those were the rest of my stuffed toys.
That's cool.
And yeah, I ended up rambling. I ended up cutting off a little bit of that video. The video I think was initially about 2 minutes longer. But yeah. I just kept rambling because I didn't want to stop, because it was the end, and I was like, I don't want it to end. But I ended up cutting it off a little early, and
yeah, well, it's 30 minutes and some seconds.
Yeah, that one of the longer ones I did.
I think that's the longest. I don't think you went over 30 minutes for any others.
That's might be right. I put all 30 videos in the same edit file, and so 30 Days of Netflix is slightly over 8 hours of content, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. So as someone was asking, are you going to do 365 days of Netflix? I'm like, oh Jesus, no. Someone recommended I do it again the next time I get a free trial. I might do that. Someone also recommended I do a 30 Days of Marvel Unlimited, which I think is Marvel's comic thing. Yeah. That might be interesting. If I have the time in the upcoming months, that might be interesting to consider. So, we'll
yeah.
see. As far as video games this week, been playing a little new Super Mario Brothers 2. I played Trent Steen, who may be the only employee of Secret Tunnel Entertainment, indie dev, gifted me a copy of the Wii U version of Shapes of Grey, his new indie game, which he asked me to record a voiceover for. a year and a half ago, whenever that was. And I played it, and it was. I guess I shouldn't review it because I am in it. I'm not sure if my voiceover is in it. If it is, you have to beat the game more than once.
No, you didn't hear your own voice, huh?
Once you beat it the first time, it opens up more modes. So it opens up almost a second quest type thing. So if my voiceover is still in there, you have to do more than just go through all 50 levels one time. You have to go through the next 50 or something, or it's just not in there. It seemed rather non sequitur to me anyway. But I played that, and it's a dual stick shooter, which I couldn't beat it on the PC because I can't dual stick with keyboard and mouse. But as soon as I got it on a console controller, no problem at all. So that was fun. Also played Jeremy Zen. He gifted me Ollie Ollie, which is a 2D side-scrolling, almost endless runner skateboarding game. So imagine Tony Hawk as a endless runner. It's pretty interesting. I played it for a little bit.
Yeah. So, well, that's a game that's in the Humble Bundle, right?
Yeah,
now, the Humble Nintendo Bundle.
Yeah, I think he just ended up with an extra code for it or something.
Yeah.
He says, "You want it?" I said, "Ooh, free game, okay."
So, do you get the Humble Bundle, or are you planning on it?
It really the only game that interests me is Guacamelee. So I'm kind of waiting to see.
I think I have that one on PC from an earlier Humble Bundle.
So I'm waiting to see what other games are added to the bundle before I take the plunge.
Okay, but for $10, that's still still.
Well, I could pay $1 and get the only game I want.
True.
Dream Peppers notes that there's a Nintendo Direct tomorrow, Japan only. I don't speak Japanese, not much anyway. I mean, I watch anime, so I know a little bit. I know baka is the most important word in the Japanese language, and I'll be watching it anyway because that's how much of a Nintendo dork I am.
Yeah.
So, what you been playing this week?
Not a whole lot. But this week I was just kind of going through the games on my PC, and I was just like, okay, what do I have in here? And I saw Horde on there, HOARD, and I'm like, where did I get this? So
what
I'm
is
just like,
that? I don't recognize the name.
And so I opened it up, and it's a game where you're a dragon, and you basically have to destroy the surrounding villages and castles and stuff, and earn money and take it back to your nest and kind of complete that. And there's like achievements and quests that you get in order to make things interesting. And then I was like, okay, where did I get this game? And so it turned out I bought it at a Humble Bundle at some point. It was just a game that I installed that I never got around to actually playing.
I have 100 or 200 of those.
Yeah, and so it's an interesting game. It's not too complex, not too difficult, but it's I had a lot of problems with it because it kept crashing on me because I'm playing on Linux, and apparently the game keeps they don't have a very good Linux build right now, and I haven't checked to see if they've uploaded it, but yeah, it's it was interesting. Not the best game in the world, but still kind of pointless fun. But other than that, I borrowed earlier this week. I was at my mom's house, and she has some GameCube games that I've never played, and so I borrowed Wario World, and then Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess for the GameCube. I haven't gotten around to playing those ones, but I played a few levels of Wario World for the GameCube, and it has some pretty solid platforming in it, but not the most difficult game in the world. I was kind of hoping, because I really liked Wario Land on the GameCube or Game Boy, and I really liked that game. It was solid fun, and had a really cool ending and stuff. But playing Wario World, I'm a little disappointed in it because the major complaint I have is that there's not a lot of variety in the enemies. There's like all variations of the same 4, maybe 5 monsters. I'm trying to think. There's like your basic little Goomba style dinosaur. And then you have a larger one that you have, and that one you can just kind of punch away in one hit. And then there's a larger dinosaur that you got to hit, knock them out, and then pick them up and throw them to kill them. And then there's this Triceratops that has a club, which he uses to block your attack. So you kind of got to get behind him and knock the club out of his hand. And then he goes on all fours and tries to ram you, and you got to beat him up, and then you got to like super throw him. And then there's like pterodactyls that you got to knock out of the air and throw, and those are the basic enemy types. And basically every level has those same ones, just with a different skin on them. Mm-hmm. It was just, I was just kind of disappointed to see that. I think the only original monster I've come across so far has been these little cages that sprout lion legs and attack you, and that's been the only original monster that I've encountered so far. Okay. But yeah, I've gotten to World 2 and level 2 of World 2, and I had to stop because I had things to do today. But it's I'm gonna beat it. It probably won't take me very long unless there's more than the 4 stages that you see at the beginning of the game. Have you played it?
No, but I have played Wario Land Shake It, which is my favorite out of all the Wario games that I've played. Have you played this one?
No, I think that my mom actually has that one.
It's really good.
That one's 2D perspective through most of it, isn't it?
Yeah, through all of it. It's definitely side-scrolling 2D. It's even SD Wii. It's absolutely gorgeous. The art is just damn stunning.
Yeah,
I would really love for them to make another one in the series
because Wario World is 3D, kind of like how Super Mario 3D Land is. That kind of 3D. And then you don't have, like, you're locked into a camera position for the main levels. But then there's these little puzzle rooms where you have to get these red crystals, which unlock the boss at the end of the stage. And in these ones, you can actually rotate the camera in 360 degrees because, sometimes you have to get a different perspective in order to solve the puzzle in the room. And so, those are kind of fun, but some of them are really difficult, if you're really bad at platforming, I guess. But, almost all of them, I can finish them in just, a minute or two. But I got to this one room in stage 2 of World 2 where I had to do something. There was platforms that kind of disappear seconds after you land on them. Mm-hmm. And so you basically have to jump the very second you land. So it's like, jump, land, jump. And I keep messing that up and falling to my doom. But man, I'm looking forward to finishing it, but I definitely want to play Shake It when I can get around to that one.
Your question as to how long the game is it more than just the 4 worlds you see initially, reminded me of, I wrote the guide for one of the Mario versus Donkey Kong Mini Land Mayhem or Minis on the Move, one of those. And it's a fairly lengthy game. It's a puzzle game, and I think there are something like 120 individual puzzle levels. And this was back before I had no ability to actually record footage from a DS. Mm-hmm. So I had to, and taking pictures is almost impossible. I had no capture software for DS. So I had to write out in text explanations of where on the screen to draw ladders and ramps when the little dudes are walking around to guide them to the exit. Oh man, was it a pain in the butt. And then I beat the game. I cleared level 120. And it says, "Great, now do it all again. We've remixed all the levels for you. Yay!" I'm like, "Oh no, no, don't do this to me."
Yeah.
I can only I didn't write the guide for it, but I can only imagine the horror someone experienced in Mario Galaxy or Galaxy 2 when they finished it and realized now there's 120 green stars. Go get them. It's like, no, no, you horrible mean game.
Yeah.
So
I'm with Wario World, you start out in the little courtyard or whatever, and you're facing a giant treasure chest, but then around you are 4 worlds. Only one is open to you, and then you beat that one and it unlocks the next one. But each one has 2 stages and then 1 big boss battle. And each stage ends with a boss battle too. So you get 3 boss battles for each world. But yeah, so that's only 8 levels or 8 stages plus 4 boss battles, and then probably 1 more boss battle. When you fight that, then open up the big treasure chest or whatever. But yeah, I'm just not sure if that's all of it. I haven't done any searching online, to see what's in store for me. But yeah, this one probably, if that's all that's in there, it's probably going to take me, maybe 8 to 10 hours to beat the game, unless I just really suck at some of these puzzles. And this is like, I 100%ed, World 1, and I'm working on 100%ing World 2 right now. And it only took me
one of those 100% as you go, completely clear out a world or level before you move on.
It depends on the game, and how difficult it is to 100%. Like, stage 1 or world 1 of Wario World, it was super easy. Like I got through stage 1 of World 1. And I had only missed like 1 item, and it wasn't even something that counted towards the 100%. It was just one of the red crystals, and you don't have to get all of those to fully complete a level. So I was just like, yeah, I'll go back in there and get it anyways. And then world or stage 2 was about the same thing. I think I only missed like 1 treasure chest or something. And so I'm trying to 100% it as I go, but some games I'm just like, screw 100%ing. I just want to beat it.
Yeah. STL creators calling me out for saying, one of those Mario versus Donkey Kong games. So I pulled it off my shelf. Yeah, it is Miniland Mayhem. So I was right the first time, I think. Although in my defense, with the exception of the one that was just on the 3DS, so the one before last, they're all really, really similar, and their names are really, really similar. So it's kind of like trying to remember exactly which Professor Layton game you're talking about. Hey, do you remember the one where the one guy is and he says this? It's like, is that Diabolical Box or Unwound Future or the I don't know. So, and Matthew, yes, I like Galaxy also. I didn't mean to suggest that I didn't like Mario Galaxy, although I will say something unpopular. I like Mario Sunshine better.
I haven't played Mario Sunshine or Galaxy yet, and yes, but I've got Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess, which I'm going to try to tackle. I want to do Ocarina of Time. Unfortunately, my mom didn't have the GameCube version of Zelda that had Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, so I'll have to track down Majora's Mask somewhere else in order to play that. I don't have a 3DS, so I can't get it there.
Yeah. Goth asked, does everyone just play Nintendo games here? No, I also play some PC games, and I have a PS3. Well, I have a PS2 and a PS3 now. I just played about a month ago. I haven't really played many games because I was busy with Netflix, but I played Valkyria Chronicles on the PS3, and I'll probably crack open Tomb Raider here pretty quick if I can find the time.
And I have a PS3, a 360, a PS2. I've got a Genesis somewhere around here, but it's not hooked up.
But I am an unabashed Nintendo fanboy. Yeah. I'll admit that, right? Nintendo is my favorite.
And I've got tons of PC games. It's just, right now, the game I want to play is on the Wii, or GameCube, which I'm playing on the Wii. But I might tackle a PS3 game next. You never know. I have a backlog of 100 plus games that span multiple systems. So
yeah, I did.
There you go.
Yeah, I did a video a year or two ago about the games I own but haven't played, and it was a stack like this big. I think it was 14 games. And I went through them and I said, now here's all the ones I have in my Steam, and I total up all my digital games, and it scrolled past like a movie trailer for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, that's how I am. And, you've got the stack of games that you own that you've never played, and then the stack of games that you've started playing but never completed, and then the stack of games that you started playing and don't want to complete because they sucked.
Yeah. I have a couple of those, or games that just didn't grab me. Metal Gear Glitch in the System. That's a game that a lot of people are really, really fond of, and it just never grabbed me. Same thing with Muramasa. Gorgeous game, but man, I just don't enjoy playing it, and I am in the extreme minority on that one. Ooh,
I liked it. Yeah,
most people do. Damn gorgeous game though, absolutely.
Yes, very well designed, or artistically designed game.
I will reveal something here. I just started playing Link to the Past a couple weeks ago. I just keep forgetting to tell this story, and man, my first, I played the original Zelda, the NES Zelda, never really cared for it. Never really cared for 2, Adventure of Link either. Never played Link to the Past, so the next Zelda game I really played was Ocarina of Time. Absolutely loved it. Been playing Zelda games ever since, mostly console. So I recently went back to play, and I just lost it, Link to the Past. And it's got a great start. I was really digging it. What's amazing is seeing how this is the one that really started all the places and the themes that you really know. Kakariko Village and a lot of the theme songs come from this game. I'm like, oh my gosh, this stuff I thought started with Ocarina of Time started with this, actually. Also, I mean, it's old now, but also a gorgeous game. It's got a really nice look to it. So I made it to the first dungeon, and that is pretty much where I decided I never want to play this game again. The reason for this is, unless I'm missing something, and please correct me if I'm wrong about this somehow. In this game, when you die in a dungeon, they kick your ass out the front door. So if the boss kills you, it kicks you out of the dungeon, and you have to walk all the way back through the dungeon. Now, you don't have to repeat any of the puzzles. The doors that you unlocked are still unlocked, but it's still a couple-minute walk through the dungeon back to the boss. That annoys the hell out of me. I find the comment...
That was how the original Zelda was. And
might be, yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't until Link's Awakening for the Game Boy that they started doing the checkpoints. Where the Game Boy, Link's Awakening had, if you beat the sub boss, it was like the halfway point of the level, and then it opened up a portal between the sub point and the entrance, and so you could skip half the dungeon. If you died after that. So
and. Yeah, I find the combat a little awkward in this game, to the point where I don't enjoy it. So I play kind of sloppy. So I'm constantly losing hearts. Now, I'm not saying I can't play well, and I'm not saying that I died a million times. I think I only died at the boss once, the first time I faced him. or it, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And I said, no, just really don't want to walk all the way back.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh man, did that. So I don't know if I'll be able to make it through Link to the Past unless I concentrate on fighting good. Because if
Yeah,
I
yeah.
die,
There's
oh man.
yeah, it can get kind of punishing if you don't play it exactly right,
Mm.
and so that adds to the difficulty if you're not concentrating. But overall, I enjoyed the game. I
Ocarina
played
of
it back when
Majora and Twilight Princess do the same, do they? Maybe I never died in those games because Zelda games get easy. Or maybe the combat is just better. I don't know.
I don't know.
Um, I know I never died in Wind Waker because you can't die in that game. It's so unforgiving. I didn't even know you could die in it until I saw Link slowly beaten to death on an unattended target demo. He was at the fire dragon boss in the volcano. This dragon's slapping him and just slowly whittling him down. I mean, you fall in lava in that game and it only takes off a quarter heart. Get good, Andrew
Yeah.
said. Yeah, that's really what it is. You don't want to get kicked out of the dungeon, have to walk all the way back? Well, stop dying. And you call
Yeah.
yourself a monster hunter. What's with you? So,
Yeah.
it reminds me of a game I actually was talking about earlier this week, PNO3, which is interesting because I posted about it on Facebook and got nearly 300 views on that thing. And then I posted
Mhm.
something else about some weird Nintendo thing, and I got 18 views. So you never know what people are going to be interested in. But anyway, at the very end of PNO3, you fight the boss and you die unless you're super good and don't die the first time. It kicks you out and restarts you at the other end of the room before the boss. And it's a large room with a hole in the center. So you have to run all the way across the room around the hole. And it's like, why? Just start me in the damn room. Why do I have to run across this stupid thing? Arg. And I
Yeah.
remember that being a real problem when I did the no death run. There's an outfit in the game where I forget what the requirements are, but the super extra special outfit, which is essentially a thong, I think it's one of the more powerful offensive from an offense outfits, but it has no defense. One hit and you die, which kind of makes sense because she's in her underwear. She has no protection. But it's interesting playing that game and without getting hit. And the final boss is pretty difficult to play without
Yeah.
getting hit. So I had to run across that room quite a few times. So. So let us, now that we're half an hour into the show, let's actually start talking about some of the topics. All right.
Yeah.
So, and I completely lost it. Poll. Yes. Let me close the poll. So it's been an interesting year. We've had a few, and save. There we go. So this week's poll, and the poll is fixed. So yay, it's back. Is it censorship when a private retailer decides not to sell a particular video game? Now we've seen several examples of this in the last half year. At the end of pardon me. At the end of last year, there was a petition that went around in Australia that said Target should stop selling GTA 5 because reasons. Dumb reasons that kind of weren't even true, but whatever. And Target said, okay, and took the game off store shelves, and Kmart, which is owned by the same company in Australia, followed suit. A couple weeks ago, there was a game called Kill the Insert Slur for Gay Person. And Valve said nope and yanked that off of Steam Greenlight, I believe. And then recently, earlier this week, it came out that Hatred, GOG, Good Old Games, the digital distributor, has decided not to sell Hatred. GOG itself has not publicly commented on that decision as far as I've seen. So a lot of times when this happens, people say censorship, but other people say no, it's not censorship when a private retailer decides what they will and will not stock their shelf with. For example, it's not censorship if Walmart or Target decides not to carry the Holy Bible or pornography or guns or whatever. They
Well,
obviously
guns
they
aren't technically free speech, but you know.
okay, yeah, that's an idea. So granted, we're talking about actual speech, video games, books,
Yeah.
movies, things like that. So let's look at the poll results. So we had is it censorship when a retailer decides not to sell a particular video game? We had 245 people vote. 26% said yes, absolutely. 25% said certainly not in any way that matters, and 49% said no, it's not. So
So 51% feel it's some sort of censorship, just kind of split over whether it's absolute censorship or just
censorship in kind of a colloquial way.
Yeah.
And I think where a lot of this comes from is looking at the Target situation. I would consider the people who wrote and signed on to the poll as censors and trying to censor things, but I wouldn't consider Target's decision a censorial decision. I'm not sure if censorial is a word, but I like it. It's a business decision. I don't believe Target said, "You're right. This is a horrible game that no one should be exposed to. We will take it off the shelves so no one can experience it and won't be corrupted." I think it was a matter of, we've got 40,000 people who are upset that we're carrying a game that came out a year ago and we're not really selling anymore. My guess, and again, this is just my read of the situation, is they did a cost-benefit analysis and said, you know what, it's more reasonable to just take the damn game off the store shelves. We're only selling 5 copies a week anyway, if that.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
It's better to count out of 40,000 people than again. I think there was a counter petition that was 30,000, not quite as many.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as many, but yeah, I wrote it as much in the poll comments, because so it got brought up, and so and yeah, that's exactly what it was a cost benefit analysis. How much cost benefit analysis went into, say, the GOG decision to not host Hatred? That's a whole different story. We don't have any information about why GOG decided not to do that. The Target situation, we had the poll or the petition, that gives us context. But with
Target did release a statement on
and they did release a statement too, but GOG hasn't said anything, so we're kind of lacking in context here. So.
Yeah. Now, not Digital Creations, Destructive Creations. The developer who
I forget.
Yeah, I think it's Destructive Creations or something similar. Chat, correct me, please. I can rely on other people. Creative Destruction. Okay. Yeah. Creative Destruction had a Facebook post earlier in the week in which it said, really, GOG hasn't said anything. This information comes from Creative Destruction, who said, we spoke to Good Old Games and they said they weren't going to sell it. We asked them why, and they said, we can't. So we can't is what the developer said, GOG said. And as some of our readers point out, yes, you can. Now, why won't you? There's probably no technical reason that prevents you from selling the game. I'm sure it's within your capable hands of doing so. But some have suggested maybe Good Old Games has a policy against adults-only rated games. Maybe. I don't know if that's true.
Well, they have Indigo Prophecy. Fahrenheit on there, but that's only AO in the US, but it's 16 in PEGI regions.
Well, if it's the remastered version of Fahrenheit
Indigo Prophecy,
that was rated M by the ESRB, which is kind of weird because it's the same game that they gave an AO.
Well, I looked at the listing, and the one that was linked in the comments somewhere, it did list the rating as AO. So.
Yeah. It's an odd decision, as Matthew just pointed out. They carry Postal 1. There are a bunch of violent, gory games on good old games. So if it's not the rating, is this just too sick for GOG? It'll be interesting to see what Good Old Games has to say about this.
Yeah, if they
and as
ever do
Gothscon
release a
points out,
statement.
Postal 1 is rated M too. So,
Yeah.
but is it censorship? I say no, it's not censorship. It's a private entity exercising its free speech.
Yeah, and it's not like, censorship is one of those things where there is a where you're actively going out to block people from seeing something, or saying something or whatever, and that, at least that's how I see censorship. You have to actively go out there and try to prevent people from experiencing this. GOG is just saying, hey, we don't want to deal with this game. If you want it, go somewhere else. They're not saying, they're not going out there and saying Steam needs to not sell this and whatever. Frankly, you can get the game from Steam and you can get it straight from the developer. So there is no blocking of this game from reaching its target audience. Now, somebody in the comments though, somebody was saying that, but this game is people want this game from GOG. It's like in the top 5 or top 10.
I would rather buy games from GOG
games
than Steam because of DRM. So yeah.
Yeah. But my thoughts is a good chunk of those people would have bought it from Steam anyways. But now those people are probably still going to buy it from Steam. They're if they actually want the game, they'll go and get it from Steam, or the developer if the developer is selling it directly.
Sells it correctly. I would be shocked if it's not. Now, have you seen Hatred in action? More than just the trailers? Have you seen any Let's Plays or video reviews or anything?
No, I didn't watch any. I haven't watched any Let's Plays. I read the review on. Polygon?
I think Destructoid. Polygon had a look at it. Destructoid, I think, was the first I saw. Pretty much all the reviews. Most of the reviews that I've read, I think I've read 3 or 4 of them, have said, eh.
The one review I read, it was just like
shooter.
Yeah, they were like, there's nothing interesting here to, if you've got other twin stick shooters, then yeah, you can, you'll have just as much fun playing those.
I've seen the game in action. I've not played it. I've seen some lengthy video reviews, and I have seen. I watched the first part of a Let's Play because the game is kind of boring. Once you've seen it, you've seen it. Matthew opines that the game does not deserve an AO rating, and from what I've seen, at the very least, from a violence and gore perspective, I would agree. I don't. Then again, I don't think we need an AO rating. Period. But I don't find. Again, from a gore and violence standpoint, I don't find the game so far beyond the pale that it needs to go beyond an M rating. Now, the only difference with this game is there's no artifice. There's no, you are a sociopathic killer and you're just mowing down people in generic town USA. That's it. Just go kill innocent people. Not aliens, not monsters, not people who are attacking you, not there's no good reason for you to be doing this. You're just a psychopath mowing people down, which is pretty much what Postal 1 was, just with less fidelity because it was made in the 90s. So I very much anticipate what the ESRB's rating summary. The game is, the last time I looked, which I think was 2 days ago, the game is still not on the ESRB's site. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the rating summary says. Because I'm imagining it's a tone thing for the ESRB.
I would assume it's a tone thing, but then again, you have the question of, was this a rating assigned by the ESRB through its ratings board, where it has the group of people that rates the game, view the footage and assign a rating, or was it rated through the online rating process where you just fill out the questionnaire and you get a rating from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so depending on which way it goes, I don't think the ESRB issues rating summaries for those through the online process because they didn't have that video to review and all that stuff. So I think it probably went through that questionnaire process rather than the formal ratings process.
Yeah,
At least
we'll
that's
see.
at least that's the impression I get. The developers haven't clarified how it got its rating.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Let's see. Matthew and Laxter are talking about how you can kill innocent people in this game, but you kill innocent people in GTA, and a lot of other games, and that's very true. So it's definitely not AO because you kill innocent people. It's the way you do it or the reason you do it that seems to be the mitigating factor here.
Well, I think the reason killing innocents in GTA doesn't impact its rating is because that's not the core of the game.
Right, you're typically not explicitly directed to do that.
Yeah,
unlike
the core
where the level it says level 1, kill 47 people. That's
exactly. That's
you're not going anywhere until you do that.
Yeah, that's what sets the game apart. Is that the core function of hatred is to kill innocent people. Where GTA is advance in the crime whatever. It's advance the story. But
if you ask me, should the game be AO? No. But also keep in mind that I don't believe we should have an AO rating anyway. I think it's completely pointless, useless, and does nothing to further the ESRB's mission statement. I don't think it allows consumers to make a more informed decision on the content they're purchasing. All it does is keep stuff from them. It encourages censorship. So there.
Yeah,
even if it's
if we want to go back to the censorship thing in general, to me the collaboration between console producers and retailers, physical retailers, to not sell AO rated games, to me that is an act of censorship because it's a collaboration. They're all working to prevent people from playing AO rated games.
Yeah, I agree.
That I would say is a form of censorship.
Right.
That
if the
well deserving of the title.
Right. Now to be fair, Nintendo and everyone else is perfectly within their rights to say we are not going to sell AO games on our platforms. What I'd rather see them do, though, is judge games on a case-by-case basis rather than just no AO games. So, I mean, even if they said, look, no porn, that's it. AO, fine, just no porn.
Yeah.
Okay. But
my problem with this blanket AO thing, though, is that a game they won't let the US sell a game that's rated AO, but they'll let European, their European branch sell that very same game because it only got a PEGI 18 or a PEGI 16. It's like, okay, why can Europe play this game but the US can't? It doesn't make any sense to me. And that has happened. But,
so Laxter asks me if says so you don't think there needs to be a rating above mature? M can encompass all of humanity's depravity. Yes. I think an M rating recommended for people 17 years and older is fine. I don't. To me, it's really. I can't think of a piece of content that I'd be perfectly comfortable showing to someone on their 18th birthday, but being like someone a year younger. Oh, no, not a year younger. No.
Yeah. See, so, I'm a big fan of scrapping the current M rating and the AO rating and replacing the two with an M16 and an M18. Yeah, that's my preferred thing. Where M18 would be things like, your Hatred, your GTA, and God of War, those types of games where it's
Just
like,
really heavily,
excessive,
viscerally violent stuff.
yeah, heavily
Where
violent,
would Mortal
heavily
Kombat fall for
sexualized.
you? Is that
I
too
think
goofy to be 18, or?
I don't know. I'd probably just throw it in with 18, just because you got things like God of War where it does a lot of the same stuff. It's just a different context.
It's a
But
very
your
different
things
tone,
like
yeah.
your Halos and your Call of Duties would fall under the M16 rating.
I'd even be fine with a 13, 15, and 17. I'm concerned that if we had an M18, 18 seems to scare people. Oh, porn! If it's M18, I'm afraid it's going to be treated exactly the same as an AO. So we'd have to see.
But I think there's a lot of factors that would go into that.
Mm-hmm.
But, Matthew says M16 for Mortal Kombat. I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, Mortal Kombat is so
it's
incredibly viscerally violent, but it's also so over the top and goofy that you just can't take it seriously. So where do you put that? It's an interesting question. So let us move on to a new topic. Thank you, everyone, for participating in the poll. I'm sorry it was on a 2-week or 3-week hiatus or however long that was.
Yeah.
Okay, let us talk about Konami, who is really, really trying to be EA. So, in other words, unlikable. So we've talked in the past about Kojima and Silent Hills. So Kojima seems to be shoved out the door, and Silent Hills was gone, and then got yanked off the PS4s. And then there was talk that if you had Silent Hills, it bricks your PlayStation. And so Konami finally gets up and says, "Okay, let's talk. We know you all have a lot of concerns. We know you've all been asking questions, and we are here to answer them. The truth is, we're still going to make console games in addition to mobile games. I'm sure that's all you wanted to know. Thank you, everybody. Good night." Oh, Konami. No one cares. This was not the most pressing thing you could have answered. I mean, it's nice to... You see, this is why Nintendo announced the NX, so people wouldn't go, "Oh my god, Nintendo's going mobile only." Because it's exactly what happened with Konami. They said, "We're going to start making mobile games." And people said, "They're going to stop making console games." No, they're doing that in addition to console games, although they may stop doing console games if they don't pull their collective heads out of their bums. Yeah. So, now, let me pull up the article. So there was a really interesting rumor earlier this week that the reason Konami seemed to want to erase the Silent Hills playable trailer from the PlayStation 4 completely was because Xbox had paid them billions of dollars for the exclusive rights to Silent Hills. Not Silent Hill the IP, Silent Hills the game specifically, which does not have Kojima or Guillermo del Toro working on it anymore. Was Kojima the one who was on it, or was it someone else?
I think it was Kojima.
So that one, and this also came from an anonymous source. So this one kind of sounded like bunk anyway. And earlier today, Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, said on Twitter, "Sorry, this isn't true. Not sure where the rumor started, but I don't want to mislead anyone." Which is nice that he went out and said that rather than "we don't comment on rumors and speculation."
Yeah.
But I guess, unfortunately, that's pretty clear that Silent Hills is dead.
Yeah, definitely. Gamma Sutra actually had one of their writers, Christian Nutt. He wrote a really interesting article about just kind of his thoughts on this whole Kojima or Konami thing, and it's it's the article title is Konami looks to the future, and it's not the future longtime fans want, and he kind of explores a lot of the issues that Konami's had over the years, and and part of it is they've lost a lot of their top tier creative minds. Kojima is kind of their last big name designer, because they lost who was it? The guy who did the Bloodborne Kickstarter.
Igarashi.
Igarashi. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They lost him, and he was their Castlevania guy. And then you have all these rumors about Kojima leaving, and he's their Gears of War, Metal Gear Solid guy, and Silent Hill guy, and really, and he goes on and talks about how Konami is just kind of their console side has just been festering over the last couple of years. They went from being a top tier developer on the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 to kind of just releasing one or two titles a year for the PS3 era, the PS3 360 era. They kind of just stopped releasing titles on a regular basis, and so I don't know how much of that is just the ballooning cost of development for major consoles now, but it's just they just seem to have lost interest. If they are going to develop for consoles going into the future, it's probably going to be only like one title a year, because if the costs keep ballooning, then they can't really spend a lot of time and manpower on making these console games.
Yeah, that's true. I believe Nintendo when it says it's adding mobile games to its repertoire. It's not like taking a bunch of people who would be working on console and handheld games or even developing the NX and throwing them into mobile. So we're going to see less on the console and the handheld side in order to make the mobile. Nintendo's big enough to actually pull that off. Konami, I'm not so sure. I think if they're going whole hog into mobile, they're going to have to yank some resources from handheld the console development. On the other hand, if they actually got rid of Igarashi and Kojima, they may have saved a bunch of money. So maybe it was a cost. These guys are they're rock stars. They're extraordinarily expensive. So let's just get some cheaper fresh blood in here.
I don't know. I think the games industry kind of they tend to lack a lot of those big names behind games and stuff.
That's true. It's pretty much the same names we've had since the 90s.
Yeah, with movies, you can get a director. You've got these well-known directors. Your Steven Spielbergs and George Lucases and whoever else. Michael Bay's. You've got these guys. Well-known. They've been well-known for decades, and then you can get a brand new director come in, makes a really great movie,
right?
And then
Josh
they're a big
made
name.
The Chronicle, and now he's on Fantastic Four.
The Wachowski brothers, things like that. You can get big name directors to just kind of pop up out of nowhere in the movies industry, where that doesn't generally happen in the games industry.
That's it.
Because
that's a good point. I'm trying to think of anyone past 2000 that became just a hot name developer that popped up after 2000. I'm trying to think of one. And chat, anyone?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. But a lot of that has to do with kind of the commoditization of game development. Mm-hmm. Where back in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, you had a lot of the teams were smaller. And so you were able to tie like a single name or a couple of names to a game and people are like, all right, another Tim Schafer game is coming out.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go
Notch.
and get it. You know,
Minecraft
Notch,
guy.
yeah, Notch is probably one of the only ones I can think of too. Now that you mention them, but
Nicholas,
well,
maybe?
then you
Phil
got
Fish?
Phil Fish and Rami Ishmael, from Ridiculous Fishing.
Mm.
But
That's a stretch.
so yeah, that's a stretch. But yeah, but you don't really get that on a big basis in the games industry anymore. And I think that's one of these problems why you can't really get fresh faces around
Cliff
that.
Blazinski.
When did he come into
I didn't know. I didn't know of him until the 2000s, probably mid 2000s. I don't know how long he's been around though.
Yeah.
So,
but I don't know. Yeah. So I think for having a big name like this, I think it's kind of worth keeping him around. But a lot of these developers, they've kind of learned that their name is basically a blank check if they want to do something on their own. Tim Schafer did it with the Double Fine Adventure. All it was we want to make. I'm Tim Schafer and I want to make a adventure game. That was the entire pitch of the Kickstarter video or the Kickstarter, and he got several $1 million off of that. So did
Sid Meier. He's been around for a long time.
Yeah, Sid Meier's been around forever.
But
he was one of the
originals, man.
Yeah,
That's like saying Roberta Williams. I just said that's like saying Roberta Williams. The Goth's going to post it right at that moment. Great, absolutely wonderful people, though. Absolutely worth mentioning. Dream Peppers has to go to bed. Well, sweet Dream Peppers.
Good night. Dream of Peppers. Yeah. So
all right, let us power through a new topic. All right, new topic. So Konami is the pretender to EA's throne. So let us talk about EA, who is trying to out EA this week. Microsoft finally got it through its head that, maybe people really don't care so much about the Kinect. It took them a while, but I think they're finally warming up to the idea that at best it's begrudging acceptance. No one really seems to be, not many at least, seem to be really, whoa, Kinect, it's the best thing ever. So EA has not learned that lesson when it comes to online-only games. And I speak of games that you wouldn't think need to be online-only. So EA is, get this, rebooting Need for Speed. Now, before we move into the rest of the story, it's a car racing game. Reboot? Is anyone going to notice?
Exactly. You think, Tomb Raider. Yes, you can reboot Tomb Raider because you can have a totally different take to her character and the overall story of Lara Croft and everything.
Yeah.
You can reboot that.
The mythos.
But you can't reboot. You can't reboot NASCAR racing. I'm sorry.
It's not to say there's no story, but I didn't realize that there was I guess the mythology, the mythos of Need for Speed was just all over the place and so confusing. We had no choice but to just throw it all out and start over. EA, I think if people can continually swing with the Zelda timeline, I think they're going to be fine with just another Need for Speed game. Anyway, so Need for Speed, which is a car racing game, you get in a car, you drive it really fast, and then you either stop playing or keep going. So the new Need for Speed will require a connection online, and EA said on Twitter, Need for Speed will require an online connection, but the benefits are nice. More variety and a more rewarding experience with friends. Now, granted, details are that and that only, but Oh man, EA, I hope for your sake that you don't mean this requires an online connection if I just want to boot up and play a race in the game. You know, I
Mhm.
sometimes I really don't need to play online. I'm getting a SimCity feeling all over again with this one.
Yeah, was it EA that was doing that online driver avatar or something, or was that Activision?
That was Drive Club, I think. That was Activision, I think.
Okay.
I'm sure the chat will correct me on that. But that was
Yeah,
another. That was.
I can't.
I'm getting a little off topic here, but that one was the one where I think they're talking about drive avatars, right? With the thing in the
Yeah, the
cloud.
drive avatars. Yeah, where
And
like it builds a driving profile that will automatically download into the AI controlled cars of other people's games and stuff. You know, it was a really interesting concept, but pointless when it comes to execution.
yeah, so
But yeah, I'm really more variety is and what these benefits are, you know, because
yeah,
they talked up the benefits of online only for SimCity, and then within the week of SimCity being released, every single one of the benefits were debunked because it's like, nope, we don't need an online connection to have this or
yeah.
this or this or
Nope.
this or this.
Matthew, thank you. Drive Club is Sony, not Activision. It was Sony. In fact, I think
Okay,
it was an
Sony.
exclusive for the PS4, or at least PlayStation consoles. I can't remember anymore.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Anyway, yeah, I would love to know what these benefits are. I mean, if it's something like you can play with your friends if you connect online, well, yeah, it's 2015.
We
That's
could do
pretty
that
obvious at
before.
this point.
Yeah.
So I hope EA means it's just online enabled and not only online. Because if I'm just driving around in a circle on a track, I don't need to connect online to do that.
Yeah. Well,
Unless it's just some.
maybe they're going to be using putting racetracks that are from real world locations. Like, you know, you have a racetrack in Chicago,
Mhm.
and they use an online check to get the current weather in Chicago and the traffic conditions, and so that, you know, it downloads that and it implements that. So if it's raining in Chicago, you know, you have the rain coming down in the game, and if there's a traffic jam at this intersection, you know, that traffic jam appears in the game, and you know, maybe that's what they're doing, and you know, they're going to go for a more realistic street racing
Great, but if I can't
experience.
connect to the internet, there's this wonderful thing called a random number generator, which can just make up traffic and weather conditions.
Yeah,
And you know
but
what? You could also, because I don't live in Chicago or wherever this racetrack is, you could totally make this stuff up and I wouldn't know any better. It's kind of like in Zombie U, where you have the other player zombie that shows up in your game and you kill them and you take their stuff, and you start wondering, now, is this actually another player somewhere else in the world who died carrying all this stuff, or is this a randomly generated zombie who they just stick in the game every now and then? It could totally be random. There's absolutely
yeah,
no proof that this was actually another player out there playing somewhere, but you
yeah.
know, the illusion's
But
nice if it is an illusion.
I'm just I'm just throwing out random suggestions about why they would need an online connection.
Yeah, Matthew says this is EA, and EA, or this is EA, they would never do anything that cool. But here's what they might do: take all of Zachary's suggestions and add microtransactions to them.
There we go.
Now you got yourself a game. All right, yeah, it's fun beating up on EA.
Yes, it is.
They make it so easy, though. And I'm leaking. Oh gosh. All right. Let us go to another topic because we're past 7. Last one. Twitch has banned streams of adults-only games. Now, Peggy 18 is totally fine, as long as the game is not rated AO by the ESRB. So if the game never came out here, was never rated, totally fine. But if the ESRB gives it an AO rating, that's a no-fly zone. Now, this is interesting because Twitch, within the last couple of months, kind of cracked down on streamers being underclothed.
Yeah.
So do you think this is an extension of that, or was it a reaction to hatred? They just really didn't want people streaming that game. What's your impression?
My impression is that it's just a natural progression from their ban on revealing clothing and nudity from their streamers. I know that the hatred aspect, the conspiracy theory around hatred is very popular online. A lot of people are like, this is just a response to hatred being released because it's AO rated. Like, no, I don't get that impression.
It came out 2 days before hatred, as Matthew points out. Yeah. Coincidence? I don't know. It's weird though, because Twitch seemed to have a problem with people making their own streaming pornos. It seemed to be a sexuality thing that it was cracking down on, and hatred doesn't have any of that. It's a violence thing. Twitch has never seemed to shy away from violent content as far as games and streaming goes. So it would be, I'm not saying it's outside the realm of possibility, but it would strike me as really odd if they said, oh man, we better just find a way to block people from streaming hatred. On the other hand, Twitch could have easily just said, no streaming hatred. Sorry, but no.
Yeah, but I think that might be a little unpopular of a move. A lot of people are willing to accept the no AO rated games, but if they went so far as to say, no, we just don't want this one game, that would hurt their reputation a lot, even from people who weren't interested in hatred.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you're probably right. Lex says, man, first no naked streamers, now no naked games. Stupid Twitch. Yeah, I know. I was going to do an all naked version of the Extra Life charity marathon event next year, but sorry, hands are tied. I'm gonna have to wear pants.
But my question is, how are they going to handle games that don't have a rate? Say somebody downloaded or wanted to stream an indie title that never got an ESRB rating, but has content that would likely get it an adults only rating by the ESRB if they went for a rating. How are they going to handle that? Is that just going to be a when it comes to our attention type of thing, or are they going to actively police that? Because I'm sure there's a lot of games out there that could be rated adults only, but don't have a rating at all.
Good point. I mean, for example, something like Rayplay, which we were talking about years ago. It's a game where you rape people, and it's a Japanese game, and it stayed in that country, so it never came out in Europe or North America, so it was not rated by the ESRB. So let's see. Matthew's pointing to a list of prohibited games on Twitch, and that would be, oh God, BMX Triple X.
Well, that does have live strip teases, like live action strip teases in it. So, there's that.
I have to wonder about there was a game called The Guy Game, which was literally video of Girls Gone Wild type spring break footage where they'd ask you a question.
Yeah, that was for the 360, I think.
Yeah,
it was just for the Xbox, not the 360.
Mm-hmm. So we've got BMX Triple X, which was nudity and bicycles. I love Conker's Bad Fur Day, and that's a game full of it's a game with a singing poo monster. So I'm all about really disgusting humor. So initially I was like, this game sounds great. It was not. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah. It's not funny, and it's the worst thing about it really is just mechanically it's incompetent. It's just a terrible game.
Now, granted, this list has been posted, but Dr. Mecha says that Hatred is on the list. Technically, Hatred isn't on the list of specifically banned games. It's just on a list of examples of games rated adults only that you can't stream.
Yeah, it's interesting. Fahrenheit Indigo Prophecy Director's Cut is mentioned because that was rated AO. But as I said earlier, the remaster of it, which came out this year, late last year, was rated M. So, and it's the exact same game. So who knows? Anyway, so we've got BMX XXX, Dramatical Murder, never heard of it. Honey Pop, which is a cartoon puzzle game where the better you play a match 3 puzzler, the more your animated or your still drawings of busty girls get naked. And there's suggestive sounding sound clips. So when you make a match, you hear Tetris, which actually sounds kind of funny. I think we need to hack Tetris so that every time a line deletes, it plays some sound clip from a porno. That'd be great. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so next is Sakura Spirit. Never heard of it. Second Life? Wait a minute. Oh, that's Second Sight I'm thinking of. Second Life?
No. Second Life is that MMO from...
God, does anyone? That's the one that had penis helicopters in it once.
Yes, yeah. It's the game where anybody can create stuff and upload it and sell it to other people playing it. It's basically it was what PlayStation Home was based off of. Golly, what is the company that makes Second Life? Now I'm gonna go insane if I don't look this up.
It's kind of weird because Minecraft is okay, and Lord knows there's lots of penis monsters.
Linden Labs.
Linden Labs, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I can understand why they would block Second Life. But really, from that list of games, specifically banned games, BMX XXX and Second Life are the only ones I've actually heard of. But yeah, there's a lot of risque and overtly sexual content in Second Life, so I can see why they would not want to stream that. Plus, it's just a really stupid crap.
Now
and Second Life has a porn island, apparently.
Now I'm singing the Great Mighty Pooh song in my head. Not a bad thing. I always thought for a sequel they should have the Great Mighty Pooh and his 3 brothers, and it could be a barbershop quartet of singing poos.
Blackster,
awesome.
Pretty much everything except for Minecraft clones are more realistic than Minecraft. Sorry.
So for its part, Twitch had this to say: our goal at Twitch is to create a safe, welcoming, inclusive community platform where everyone can feel comfortable and have fun. Except people who want to play AO games. From time to time, we update our rules of conduct in pursuit of this goals and to match emerging issues in the video game industry. Previously, we made game-specific decisions about which games would and would not be available for broadcast, sometimes due to overtly sexual content, sometimes due to gratuitous violence. None of them seem to be because of maybe Dramatical Murder. I've never even heard that. Anyone in the chat heard of that? Is that a sex game or is that a really, really overtly violent game? This is unsustainable and unclear, generating only further confusion among Twitch broadcasters. I don't know why that's unsustainable and unclear. There's a list. Don't play these games. Anyway, we would like to make this policy as transparent as possible. Today, we're updating the the rules of conduct with regard to adults-only games. Simply put, AO games are not welcome on Twitch. Please refer to the ESRB ratings guide and list of adults-only games for more information. As a side note, I think there are 26 AO games in the history of the ESRB. Most of them are sex games and actually gambling games. I think only a very small handful are violent.
Yeah, it's like Man 2 and
Real
GTA 5 or 4. Sorry, not GTA 5, but GTA 4.
4, really?
Or it
4.
was San Andreas.
San Andreas was
That's
3.
what it was. Yeah.
Well, it was actually just San Andreas. Anyway,
Yeah, it was just San
Twitch goes
Andreas,
on to say, while the ESRB ratings apply exclusively to U.S. titles, our policy extends to versions of these games in all territories. Generally, if the U.S. version is rated adults only or has an equivalent rating in your territory, you should not broadcast this game on Twitch. Which is kind of, although there is really no equivalent for adults only in Europe because they have the PEGI system, and 18 is really the equivalent of our M. I guess.
Yeah.
Flat out refusing to classify something in the BBFC would have been the equivalent.
Yeah. PEGI doesn't refuse classification of anything.
Right.
PEGI is the ultimate. All we are is a reference. You know, they don't refuse any classification. It's usually only government-run systems that will refuse classification, like Australia or the BBFC.
Laxter says encyclopedia. No, not. Sorry. Dramatical murder.
Encyclopedia Dramatica.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Is a murder mystery with a slight porno twist.
Okay.
Damn it, now I'm interested. Now I have to go look it up. All right. So, yeah, San Andreas was re-rated AO once the hot coffee thing was a thing, which is one of those instances where I think the ESRB made the wrong call. Because in my ever so humble opinion, it's not. You have to hack the game to get.
Yeah, you have to hack the game to get it, and there wasn't anything gratuitous about it. It was
there's no nudity.
Two fully clothed people dry humping. Yeah,
exactly. The game's already M for strong sexual content, so the scene itself, to me, does not warrant a higher rating. That seemed to be a political maneuver more than anything else.
Yeah.
So, the Joy of Sex for the CDI is rated AO. All right.
That's interesting.
Can you imagine what an eyesore and AO game on the Virtual Boy would have been?
Well, the Virtual Boy itself was an eyesore. So.
That's true. I actually thought it was kind of cool. The effect, the depth effect really did work. But that's just not a way you want to play games. Man, you talk about the GameCube or the Wii U as a failure. Oh no. The Virtual Boy was a failure. That thing was yanked off the market in like 3 months. There were only 20 games for it. That was a failure. I mean, that was a complete and utter failure. So anyway, okay, I think that is it for our show. We've had some laughs. I have to go sing the Great Mighty Pooh song now. The problem is I can't roll my R's very well. And if you've never played Conker's Bad Fur Day, you end up in a dung beetle mound, and there's a big molten pit of poop, and from the poop emerges the Great Mighty Pooh. And he starts singing at you in this really overtly operatic style. He says, "I am the Great Mighty Pooh." It is so amazingly awesome. So if you haven't seen, if you haven't played, at least go on YouTube Great Mighty Pooh and watch the song because it's hilarious. And how do you fight the Great Mighty Pooh? You throw toilet paper at it, and then you flush it. That's exactly how you handle Great Mighty Poohs, my friend. So anyway, that's it for our show this week. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for washing, because once they added that smells over the internet thing, oh boy. Anyway, but also thank you for watching. Let's plug our stuff and get out of here. Andrew Eisen here. EISEN is the last name. At Andrew Eisen on Twitter. Andrew Eisen YouTube on Facebook. And plug my name into YouTube and you'll find all my videos. I just recently concluded my 30 Days of Netflix show. So that's 8 hours of content for you to watch me talking about movies that I've watched. Won't that be fun? At least 200 people think it's really fun. which isn't saying much when I have over 5,600 subscribers. But the folks who it wasn't watched by many people, but the people who did watch it really seemed to enjoy it for no good reason. Anyway, that's it from me. Zachary, plug away.
All right. You can follow me on Twitter at EasyKnight, and you can also follow my game development work on Twitter. It's DK_gaming, and DivineKnightGaming.com is the website. And, I promise I am making games. I just don't have anything to show at the moment, and I'm really bad at posting stuff when I don't have things to say or show or anything like that. But if you're interested in the game development or the Oklahoma game development scene, you can follow OK Game Devs on Twitter and okgamedev.com, and all those have you can get Divine Knight Gaming on Facebook and Google Plus, and so check all that stuff out.
Gamer Tags on YouTube says, "Hey, I'm just tuning in." Well, we're about tuning out now. Although that comment came about 15 minutes ago. So, for all my friends over on YouTube, sorry, YouTube doesn't auto refresh itself, so I have to remember to actually go to the page and refresh the comment section. So if I don't, I don't mean to ignore you guys. Sorry. Anyway, that's it for the show this week. Thanks for watching Super Podcast Action Committee episode 145. We air Saturday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on GamePolitics.com and my YouTube channel. So you can send us email at superpackpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at superpackpodcast. Subscribe and rate us on iTunes whenever we get back on there. We're still only current up through February. And like us on Facebook. Facebook still works, so go ahead and do that. So we'll have a great week, everyone, and we will see you next week for episode 146. Ciao.
All right. See ya.